And we're live, ladies and gentlemen, here with a very special guest. I'm sure you can recognize him. It is the one, the only, the infamous Micah Dank, esoteric author of Into the Rabbit Hole series, best-selling author. 6-book series has now been extended. The next book is at the publisher, is what I heard. And welcome to the show, Micah.
What's up, man? It's been a while since we've chatted.
It is. And what are you allowed to tell us the title of the 7th book?
Yeah, because my publisher really doesn't edit my books. They don't really work on the titles. It's kind of like 100% my own creation. So I kind of like working with them. It's called The Unbegun.
Say it again and explain yourself.
The Unbegun is basically, you familiar with Mark Passio?
Yes.
Mark Passio talks about how the Illuminati have something. They refer to the people who are not initiated into their rituals and stuff like that, the unbegun, because they don't know. So that's the title of the book, The Unbegun, and it kind of decodes a lot of their stuff.
Awesome. Now, tonight we're going to be talking about a topic we haven't talked about on the Oppenheimer Ranch Project or Magnetic Reversal News. We have your interviews up on both channels. And we're going to be decoding the Koran based on astrotheology, which has been the topic of all of our discussions is astrotheology. I believe in my heart, based on all my research, that astrotheology is the original science.
It is.
Astrology even before that. And this is now being translated through the ages after civilizations fail and the cosmic catastrophe cycle. That is the one thing that always passes through. Is that what you believe as well?
100%. I've traced it back at least 40,000 years. Astrology, astrotheology. What I try and do when I come on your show, particularly your show, is I try and do a different book from everything, because it's not just biblical books. It's also the Quran. It's also the Enuma Elish. It's also the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Code of Hammurabi, the Quran, the Book of the Dead. It's in all of this. It's the basis of all of these books. So I try and come on and give a presentation on just a different one every time, because it's not just biblical text. It's the thread. It's the basis of everything.
Okay, so do you want me to bring up the share screen?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, great. So here we are. Here's your share screen, and take us through it. Give us a nice introduction and do your thing.
So this is the Quran, guys. I'm trying to get this out to as many podcasters as I can before somebody comes after me about this or whatever. So I'm just trying to share this. It's just a different way of looking at it, because, and I'm going to go into the 72 virgins. I'm going to explain that at the end, what that is. Just basically how this book, so much bloodshed, so much nonsense has been because of this book. The Bible too, but in modern day age, the Quran, and as the media is nowadays, you can't speak against it. And when you're talking about people like Sam Harris, who write books like The End of Faith or Letters to Christianity, they talk about the fact that you can't be half-assed when you're religious. If you're going to be religious, you have to take it literally. Those are the only ones who are doing it correctly. Not that it's correct, but you can't just be like a lackadaisical Muslim. If you're reading the Quran, it's very specific what you need to do. And the same thing with the Bible too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to... Yeah.
Let me jump in real quick before you start. So how many virgins are there? The 72 or 76? So the 72 virgins, that's just an allegory for something they're misinterpreting?
Absolutely. And I'm going to show you.
All right. That's awesome. Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to go through the 12 signs, guys. Some of you have heard this before. Some of you guys have seen me with diamonds before. For those who haven't, this is why I do this. And it's tedious, and I do it with every episode, but I still have to. So I'm going to give you guys some basic knowledge. So Aquarius. The first sign is Aquarius that I talk about. Now, the first sign in the Zodiac is actually Aries. But I start with Aquarius because that's like January. That's the beginning of our year. So the first sign is Aquarius, which is represented by the man. So whenever you hear words like son of man, baptism, because this is how you baptize someone, the picture on the right, a man with a water pitcher pouring the water out. That's what a priest does. That's how you baptize someone. Water pitcher, fountain, stream, river, lake, pond, creek, things of that nature, watery things. they're talking about Aquarius. Same with Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. Okay. Aquarius is an air sign. But because there's water in the air sign that you can clearly see right here, when you're talking allegorically, they talk about water. They can reference Aquarius or Pisces. Pisces is the sign of the two fish in the water. So the first two signs I talk about are water-based, and you have to figure out which sign there are, and there are keys and tricks that you can do that with. Aries is the ram, and in Aries you have March 21st, which is the spring equinox. It's a 12-hour day, 12-hour night. It's also the Passover, or the passing over of the sun over the equator. That's what it means astrotheologically. March 21st, the sun passes over the equator. Okay? In Hebrew, in Judaism, the angel of death kills the firstborn son who, of all the Egyptians who don't have the lamb or the ram. Aries is the ram. They don't have the ram's blood on their door because Jews are the people of Aries. In Christianity, the passing over is changed, and it's called the resurrection of God's son. So whenever you hear ram, lamb, shepherd, ram's horn, Jews, you're talking about Aries. Taurus is the bull. When you look at the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know that you need to put the plow on the bull so that you can plant the seeds so that you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. So whenever you hear bull, ox, calf, or cow being a female bull, you're talking about Taurus. Gemini is the twins. It's the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy. This is the story of Achilles. So whenever you hear twins or brothers, they're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab. It's the sideways moving creature. It shuffles from side to side. So just like the sun. So what the sun does is it rises a degree on its axis starting on December 25th. Then it rises a degree every single day till it hits June 21st. Then for 3 days, it walks sideways. It stays at that height. And then on June 25th, it drops a degree. And then the next day, it drops another degree. And then the next day, it drops another degree, all the way until December 21st, where it will then stop for 3 days and then rise again on December 25th. That's the day the sun comes back to life. It's born again. Okay, so whenever you hear crab or beetle, they're talking about Cancer. And the reason the beetle is because the crab in the ancient Egyptian time was known as the scarab. Now, Leo is the king, the lion, the king of the jungle. The ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So whenever you're talking about lion, lioness, or cub, you're talking about Leo. Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk. So remember before when you said that you plant in Taurus? Well, the virgins would cultivate the wheat in Virgo in order to make the bread for the year. So whenever you hear virgin, wheat, grain, seed, barley, or corn, I saw in one of the comments, Diamond, you yelled at someone on my behalf in the comments saying that corn is like not a modern day crop. It's been cultivated for 10,000 years, which is true.
Yeah.
And when it's cultivated, if you were to Google it, just look it up, or DuckDuckGo, whatever. It's cultivated in September, which is Virgo, just like all the other grains are. And Libra is the justice. It's the scales, it's the balance, it's the just one. The reason it's the justice is because it metaphorically judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold and death. Libra is also wine season, which is when you plant the grapes in Taurus, you press the wine here. Libra is also olive oil season. You press the olives in Libra. So you've got law, judge, justice, the just one, divorce, marriage, court, lawly things, wine, vineyard, wine press, grapes, or olive oil. That's all Libra. Scorpio is the scorpion, and he is the betrayer. The reason the scorpion is called the betrayer is because when a scorpion bites you, it leaves an imprint in your skin that looks like a pair of lips, and it's where the mafia gets their kiss of death from. It's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss, because Judas represents Scorpio. Each one of the, I'm not going to get into this because we're doing the Koran, but each one of the Zodiac signs is one of the 12 disciples. That's why there's 12 disciples. That's why there's 12 knights at King Arthur's table. That's why there's 12 tribes of Israel. It's always 12. It's because there's 12 signs in the Zodiac. These are metaphors. So the sun is judged in Libra and it's betrayed in Scorpio. And then finally in Sagittarius, this is where the bow and the arrow shoot the sun and inflict further punishment on the sun. This is where the sun dies. Why? Because on December 21st, the sun is at its lowest point. It cannot rise any lower. It's dead. It's in the dead of winter. It remains at its lowest level for 3 days, which is why Jesus was then dead for 3 days. When on December 25th, or the birth of God's son, it rises up another degree and starts to do it. Okay? So whenever you hear horse, bow and arrow, spear, or horseman, you're talking about Sagittarius. And finally, your Capricorn, which is the goat. The reason Capricorn is the goat is because goats like to climb the mountain. Now, if you look at the zodiac wheel, Capricorn's at the bottom of the wheel. So if you put like a little pin in or a little magnet, and you're going a degree up every single day alongside the wheel, it starts in Capricorn, where it starts to climb up the mountain, just like the goat. So those are the 12 signs, Diamond. Do you want to jump in on anything, or do you want me to just roll?
No, yeah, let's jump into the Koran and let's talk about the allegories that are being bastardized by some fringe Muslims and others in our world. And I mean, it's just like all religions. When you have a book of rules or whatever that you try to follow literally, you may run into some problems. And I think you've uncovered a lot of those problems, Micah.
Right. Absolutely. So here we go. So on the opening of the book, Day of Judgment, one, he is the sovereign. So the Day of Judgment is December 21st in Sagittarius, which is the day that the sun is fully executed on the judgment, which is provided during Libra, the scales, the justice, the just one, the cow. When they are told, you on earth do not sow wickedness, they answer, on the contrary, we only sow good here. So sowing takes place during Taurus, which is when you plant the seeds. Okay, that's Taurus. Taurus, hence the cow, which is also the female bull, which is Taurus. That's why it's called the cow, because this is a metaphor for Taurus. He raised up the heavens as a covering and poured out water abundantly from heaven to grow fruit for your food. The zodiac is the heavens covering. Pouring out water comes from Aquarius, the man with the water pitcher pouring it out. Okay, these are just metaphors. And it goes on like this, just like every other book that I've done with you goes on like this. They are waiting for gardens washed by rivers, and whenever they will be served fruits from there. The rivers are Pisces, the river with the fish in them, and they will be served fruits in Libra, where the fruits are ready to be harvested. And if you go to the Pisces, Aries firmament, okay, that's an opposing sign of Libra. There's a lot of things in the zodiac. You're going to see a lot of patterns where they talk about opposing signs, which are its opposing sign, or its neighboring sign, which is right next to it. Because in astrology, those are when you're a specific sign, your neighboring signs, your two neighboring signs, the one before and the one after, and your opposing sign, they have a lot to do with who you are and your personality and such. Then he proceeded to the heavens, and in them he built 7 celestial vaults. The 7 vaults are the 7 planets they knew about the time. Okay, so Diamond, you could probably speak to this too. Okay, we know I call Pluto a planet still because it has to do, it's very important in astrology. So I call Pluto a planet still. So that's 9 planets. At the time of Ptolemy's book, the 48 constellations, or the ones that he notified in 150 AD, they knew of 7 planets.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they're lying to you about history to begin with, because if you were to Google when Saturn was discovered, it will spit out a number, 1610. That was the year it came out. 1610. That was the year that Galileo supposedly looked through his telescope and he saw the rings around a random planet. But we know, everybody that has done their research knows that you have the Saturn day. Everybody also knows that the religion goes back to Saturnalia worship.
Yeah, Saturnalia,
and
go back before that, Micah, to the Sumerians that knew about 7 planets plus the moon and the sun. So
they knew about 7, correct? Absolutely. Yeah. So when they're talking about
at least 6,000 years ago, and if that knowledge is common knowledge 6,000 years ago, it is coming from a deeper time.
Absolutely, 100%. But like I said, you can Google it and they tell you Saturn was discovered in 1610. We know that the ancient Romans, Christmas used to be a Saturnalia festival. They worshipped Saturn. That's why women used to wear earrings. Okay, only women used to wear earrings. Men do now too, but women only used to wear earrings because they had to get their ears pierced and wear rings because Saturn had rings, and they were told by their men that they had to listen to their god, so they put rings in their ears. Men wore wedding rings. That's where the wedding ring comes from, is because of the ring of Saturn. The reason you have to wear the ring is because you pledge your fidelity in front of your god, and your god was Saturn at the time. Okay.
Well, this is interesting, dude. Let's break off on a branch here because you've sparked some synopsis in my brain. Where does the whole concept of this nonsense of flat Earth and the firmament come from? Is it again something misinterpreted that could be deciphered allegorically through astrotheology?
It can be. For instance, so people like to say that the firmament is a dome over a flat Earth. Okay, that's what flat earthers say.
Yes,
Now, to
it's
be
where it
honest
comes.
with you, to be honest with you, as far as flat Earth goes, I honestly, that's not what I do, and I honestly don't really care, because to be honest with you, that's one of those conspiracy theories that I don't really get involved with, because my work, what I do here, where I decode these kind of ancient texts, nobody's doing that, and it makes sense,
Yeah.
and I get a lot of people telling me that it makes sense, and they read my books, or they watch my videos, and they reach out to me or the host. Okay, but I don't see, like, if you were to convince me that the Earth is flat, and I were to believe that, so fucking what? Like, what does that
All
change?
the
How does that
nothing.
do anything?
All the astrotheology is still the same, and all of these allegories are still the same because it's
Right,
what we witnessed in the heavens. So, okay,
right.
enough
They
said.
tell you in the Bible, they tell you the planets. He created the sun, two orbs, the sun for the day and the moon for the night, the lesser to rule the night. They tell you all the things that these signs will not transgress one another. And what that basically means is when it goes Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, in that order, okay, it's never going to go out of order. And the firmament that they like to think is the dome over flat Earth, okay, those are actually just the dividing lines between the zodiac signs. What it is it keeps a sign from spilling over into another sign, is what it basically
Beautiful,
is.
beautifully
So I don't know
said.
where the flat Earth thing comes from, where it came from. I do know that um, they did for there's the oldest astrological clock on the planet is in Prague, I believe. Yeah, it's in Prague, and it was built in 1410, and it had a flat Earth on it, and they have redone it. They edited it to make it a globe Earth. So I really don't know one way or another. I don't really care. It doesn't make a difference to me. It's not like an aha moment for me. I don't really
Yeah.
see how believing flat Earth is really helpful. You're not decoding anything. You're not trying to stop wars with people over books that are interpreted incorrectly. You're just kind of arguing about a flat Earth. It doesn't seem like it goes anywhere to me.
Yeah, especially if you walk off the edge, because then God knows where you fall off to.
Right.
All right, let's
Well,
get back to the Quran.
all right. Let's do that. You in his absence, You in his absence too, the Taurus for veneration. You have taken a calf for veneration. This is talking about the bull Taurus. Now they openly say the word Taurus. Okay, and when you look up language translation for Islam, or for Islam and English, Taurus means Taurus. Okay. And then after this, 51 to 54, so it's right next to each other, you have taken a calf for veneration. We know the calf is the bull Taurus. So we know that's exactly what they're talking about. Hold fast to what was entrusted to you and follow obedient this law. They answered, we hear, but we do not obey him. Out of their unbelief, they poured out into their hearts a perverse affection for the calf. The law is Libra, the law and judgment, as I've mentioned before. Law, judgment, justice, divorce, marriage, court,
Scales.
the just one. They poured the heart to the affection for the calf. The calf is the bull. They were worshiping the bull again. However, they were in the age of Pisces. This was wrong. They talk about mentioning bull worship constantly because people are always trying to go back to bull worship. We're still trying to go back to bull worship this day. When the third temple is going to be erected in Israel, okay? When the third temple is going to be erected in Israel, it is going to be preceded by the sacrifice of a pure bull. It's going to be combed to make sure it has all the same color. It's going to be vigorously looked at to make sure it's a perfect bull for sacrifice. But we're not in bull worship. Right here, they're telling them, you're in Pisces. Right here in the Bible, they actually tell you the same thing too. Moses goes to the top of Mount Sinai, okay, and when he goes up to the top of Mount Sinai, he comes down, he sees them worshiping a golden bull. So either the Jews that were run out of Egypt, even though there's no real proof of that, okay, even though the Jews ran out of Egypt, as the story goes, and they had nothing, they had to escape. They're wandering the desert for 40 years, but they have all this gold that could build a giant statue. And they find welding equipment in the desert. Now, I think you told me one time that you might have had an answer for that.
What, for welding equipment?
Yeah, for finding welding equipment in the desert.
I don't remember that. Maybe that was a good night.
No, okay. I could have swore it was you. It's okay. So, but that's basically what it is. So either, these
Well,
Jews took gold.
there's evidence, recent evidence that there is an actual alchemical, a temple. They call it a temple on the mount. And this is a temple up on a mountain, not near Ararat, but not Ararat, where they uncovered, what appeared to be an alchemical laboratory. And they found huge amounts of ormus. Now, ormus is a product that is created using gold. And the only way you could be doing this is smelting gold. So they could have potentially, you don't need plasma or welding equipment. If you have a bunch of gold and you know how to make a hot fire, they could have been smelting gold at this lab. And then you could be casting the figures. And the waste product could be the ormus, which they're eating. And this could be the mana.
Okay, so that could be a possibility. But at the same time, is it likely that these Jews that were run out of Egypt were able to build an enormous gold statue with all the gold they had? Do you know how much gold that must have been?
Yeah,
so you're telling me these broke Jewish people, okay, who are looking for food, who are eating manna off the ground, okay, supposedly, have all this gold? Or what makes more sense, if you're talking astrotheologically, the gold is the sun and the calf is Taurus. They were worshiping the sun in Taurus, which is just like what this passage 93 is talking about. They were bull worshiping. Everybody tries to go back to bull. You can't go back to bull worship. Bull worship's not going to come around for another 10,000 years.
Exactly.
Those who do not know say, why has not the Lord turned the word to us, and why will he not show us a sign from heaven? Similar words were spoken by those who came before them. Their hearts are alike. We interpret the signs for those who are committed to the faith with all their soul. Looking for a sign in heaven. They're literally talking about God showing them a sign or interpreting it for them. They interpret the signs for those who are committed to faith. Other people understanding the Zodiac for you, basically.
So the faith that they're speaking of is faith in the Zodiac, that the 26,000 year cycle is happening. It's going to continue to roll forward. That is the hand of God.
Exactly. So verily in this creation of the heavens and the firmament, there you go, and in the change darkness of the night, light of the day, and in the ships crossing the seas according to the needs of man, in the rain that Allah pours from heaven, and the earth that has fallen from death lives on them. In the living creature that he scattered over the earth, in motions and change of winds, that clouds between heaven and earth as they drive their servants. Truly here are the hidden signs for those who understand. All right, so the heavens are the Zodiac. You have living creatures in the Zodiac that he's talking about. You have the fish in Pisces, the lamb and the ram in Aries, the bull, the calf, the cow in Taurus, the crab or the scarab in Cancer, the lion in Leo, the scorpion and the belly-crawling creatures, Scorpio, and the horses, Sagittarius. Truly here are the hidden signs for those who understand. On the day of the Lord's judgment, he sent the book of truth with them, so that people judge amongst themselves all that diverge their passions, when clear signs appeared to them. So the judgment day is December 21st, as I've mentioned. The Koran was sent for people to judge, that's Libra, amongst themselves when these clear signs appeared to them. You know, when you read it through astrotheological lens, it makes perfect sense, because I'm not interpreting things with a human mind. Okay? That's not what I'm doing. These are allegories and metaphors. Let me rephrase that. I am not interpreting this like in the religion, in Christianity, you have apologetics, which tend to make sense of stories like the donkey talking and the snake talking and walking and the whale, or the great fish, as they call it in Hebrew, eating Jonah for 3 days. Again, 3 days. There's apologetics to try and explain how that makes sense. That's what that branch of study is called. Okay, there's a similar thing in Islam too. I'm just using the Zodiac and the constellations they knew about at the time. I'm using one thing to break this whole thing down. But if you are in danger, pray on foot or do not dismount from your horse. Okay, dismounting from the horse, that's Sagittarius, the man on the horse. And those who on the path of the Lord spent from their good, to that single grain are like who gave birth to 7 ears. The grain is Virgo, the virgin, the sign of the woman who metaphorically gave birth to the 7 planets. It's just another metaphor for the virgin birth, and one for the 7 planets in the heavens. Whenever they're talking about 7, they're usually talking about the 7 chakras, or they're talking about the 7 planets, depending
Now,
on
the
what.
path of the Lord is what I'm gleaning here is a synonym for the Zodiac.
Right. You got to think about it, Diamond. Look, the sun tells the hour of the day to a T. Okay.
Yeah.
The moon tells the day of the month. 13 28-day cycles, just like a woman does. Okay.
Yeah.
You're also talking about how the zodiac tells the month of the year. This is a perfect. Think about the Big Bang, right? Think about the Big Bang. Think about all the chaos and insanity that was going on as they started to expand and separate, right? What are the chances that we live on a random planet in a random galaxy, and we look at the stars and we have a perfect clock for us?
Well, I believe that each galaxy, and this might be a different podcast, has its own clock. So the Milky Way clock is the one we have, and it's based on our position in the galaxy and the cycle that our solar system experiences. So if you're in a different galaxy, different solar system, obviously there's going to be different stars and a different time clock. But our clock is the 26,000 year Yuga. It's the 26,000 year great year. It's the zodiacal wheel. It is the whatever it is the one that we have here. And the only way.
And I agree with you. I tend to agree with you that.
But the only way to witness this, dude, listen, the only way to witness it is to have been looking at it for multiple cycles. So this must go back 100,000 years.
Oh, yeah. You don't just wake up one day, see Taurus in the sky, make a bull out of it, and say, oh, I got to put the plow on the bull. That doesn't just happen overnight.
At this point in time, thousands of years ago, when they're writing these allegories, they know it intrinsically. So this has to come from way, way back.
Yep, absolutely. They knew this, And all the myths, all the histories, all the holy books are all based on this.
Yeah.
You know, I keep doing books with you. This is the first one outside of the Bible I think we've done.
Yeah.
But I keep doing holy texts with you. They don't necessarily have to be the Bible or even the Quran, but these are the texts that we do, and they're all the same way.
The same information is gleaned no matter what book we're talking about. But I want to clarify one thing, that in no way do I believe in a Big Bang. The Big Bang hypothesis is disinformation.
I believe that too, 100%.
The only way we could be experiencing what we're experiencing with these time frames is in an infinite realm. And the Milky Way has been around for billions and billions of years. And that is going to be about the same time as the whole age of the universe. I'm not buying it. Also mathematically, things like black holes and dark energy are all needed in this Big Bang nonsense, but none of them have been actually observed. Right. The mainstream claims that they can see black holes, but when you go look at it,
you know what, Diamond,
go ahead.
Diamond, you could also make the argument that things like quarks, things like neutrinos, things like that were hypothesis, and then they were found later. The God particle, for example, in 2012.
Yeah.
You know, it is possible to theorize these things.
Well, it's not. So the God particle was a waste of billions of dollars. And once they found that, they realized there were smaller particles, and it wasn't a significant particle. There was no significance to the God particle. In fact, it was a failure, and it wasted billions of dollars.
They were trying to, so they thought that particle was what gave everything its mass, right?
It was nonsense, and it was a failure. That's why they don't, obviously the mainstream doesn't report on failures, but the whole search for dark energy, dark matter, and the God particle, all the work at CERN is a $1 trillion waste of money. We could have literally fed all the poor and have fixed all of the societies around the world and made us more harmonious and just a better planet. And we're wasting it on this nonsense. And I believe it's on purpose. There is a dark energy that is controlling. You call it the shadow government, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. Whatever that dark energy is, it's not here to help you or I. It's to keep you and I a slave, disinformed, and obedient. period.
Right. They just feed you dumbass information.
Yeah. It's so sad.
So, and whoever wants to own a beautiful garden of date palms and vines, which is washed by abundant streams, where for his pleasure all kinds of fruit, while old age befalls him and the children are weak, so that a fiery whirlwind falls on the garden and swallows it to ashes. So the Lord explains his signs to you so that you can understand. His signs are the zodiac. Now the vines are the vineyards in Libra. Okay? The streams are the streams of water in the water signs, Pisces and Aquarius. God explains these 12 signs to you so you can understand.
Well, and you need to understand because vineyards are one of the most sensitive crop to change in climate. A little bit here or there will destroy your grape crop, and then you have no more wine. I mean, these are the new interpretations are far more significant than any of the other ones.
Absolutely. Well, you could speak to that way better than I can.
Yeah.
But
this is just it's fascinating.
So he is the one who sent down the book to you. Some ayats in it bear an open meaning, revealing by himself, as it were, the mother of the book. Others are hidden in their interpretation. But those whose heart is on the earth in sins wanders, desiring confusion follows what meets their pleasure, seeking out the hidden meaning, which is known only to Allah and is revealed only to those who possess deep knowledge. We believe in the holy book, and they say where all ayats are revealed from God, and only he whose mind is bright can embrace this message. When you read this from an astrotheological perspective, you realize it's talking directly to you. Okay? This is not meant to be taken literally. Okay? This is talking about how there are deeper interpretations with the Quran and those who seek out the hidden meanings, those with deep knowledge. Minds bright can embrace the message, which I believe is the work that I'm doing. Okay? And how beautiful. All people see the love of earthly passions. Here are women and sons. There are mountains of silver and gold, and marked horses and herds of cattle in a plowed field. The women are Virgo, the sign of the woman. The sons are the man sign in Aquarius. Horses are Sagittarius, the man with the horse, and cattle is Taurus. A plowed field is Taurus as well. But among them, there are those who are not like these. Among the people of the scripture, there are those who with patient steadfastness for truth stand, and surrendering with all their soul to Allah, spend long hours in the night reading his signs. Again, the 12 signs of the zodiac are his signs. And the key words that I've given you in each sign that you'll be able to decode this like every book. Every time I come on, I'm going to use the same.
Well, and it says in the long hours of the night, when can you see the stars? I mean, it can't be more obvious.
It is, right?
That's funny.
It's absolutely right. Yeah, it 100%. Now, you also got to remember, Diamond, is when these Bibles were written, there was no industrial pollution or light pollution.
Oh, it was so bright up there.
They had candles. They had oil. They would burn oil. Yeah. You know, we didn't have the light bulb until the 1900s. You know, and there's so much. I live 40 minutes outside of Manhattan. Okay, unfortunately, and you can't
see anything.
You can't see anything. There's too much light pollution.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you have you ever seen Aurora Borealis?
Yeah, and if you walk outside right here, your mind will be blown. We are in some of the darkest spots in North America in Pagosa Springs.
I'm jealous, man.
It's crazy.
I am absolutely jealous.
I went outside for 2 minutes last night and saw 2 meteors trace across the same exact spot right in front of me that I was looking at.
That's amazing.
That was in 5 minutes.
Love it.
Yeah.
So verily is the creation of earth and sky, and in the change of night to day. Here are the hidden signs for those who have intelligence. The hidden signs are the zodiac. They can't be more clear.
They keep saying it again and again and again.
You know, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, and I'm only halfway done. You know, the Lord heard them calls and replied, I will never give to the abyss, not a single human deed, whether it is a man or a virgin. How interesting. How interesting. He didn't say man or woman. And Lord knows I'm not even talking about what a man or a woman means today. He said a man and a virgin. Why did he say a virgin? Why are they obsessed with virgins? Why is virginity obsessed with? It's because the woman sign is a virgin. Okay, the man sign is Aquarius, the man, and the woman is Virgo. it's always a virgin. They're always talking about virgins. And I'll get to the 72 virgins. Until the day of their resurrection at the judgment. Well, we know the judgment happens in Libra, as I've mentioned, judging, judgment, right? And whenever they light the fire of the war, the Lord will pull it out. So the judgment happens in Libra on September 21st. The fire of war comes from the god of war, Mars, who's the ruling planet of Aries. Those happen to be opposing signs. So you got to know they had ruling planets back then. You have to know all the planets and what they mean. Venus is the goddess of love. She rules Libra. Mars is the god of war. He rules Aries. Those are opposing signs. So you have love and hate. You have love and war, love and fear. That's where that comes from. And among them, there are those who only pretendingly listens to you. We put a cover on their hearts so that they will not understand it. And we cover their ears with deafness. And even if they see all the signs, they will not believe them. I mean, come on. The signs are in heaven. He is the one who placed the stars for your needs to show you the way when darkness falls on land or sea. Thus we clarify our signs for those in whom knowledge lives. They keep talking about signs and knowing
That
them.
sentence alone is telling you that it's astrology. He
Right.
puts the stars in the sky to guide you along, and that is the sign. Hello? It's almost like they keep slapping you in the face and saying, look up.
Well, they
Look
do
up.
it. They see, there's a guy named John Croissant who says something incredibly poignant, and I always end my podcast with this exact quote. He says, it's not that the ancients wrote literal stories and we are now able to take them symbolically, but that the ancients wrote these deeply encoded symbolic stories and we are now dumb enough to take them literally.
All right, so where do we go from here?
He is the one who brings water down from the sky. And with it, we give plants of all kinds to grow. And with it, we grow shoots of cereals. From them, we grew grains, sitting in an ear of a dense side by side. From the date palm, its ovaries, bunches of fruits hanging low, gardens of vines, olives, pomegranates, which in many ways are so similar, yet so different from each other. When fruits appear on them, rejoice in how they are poured and ripen. Truly in this are hidden signs for those who believe in God. The grains are planted in Taurus. Then what happens in Taurus? April showers bring May flowers. Water from the sky, the grains grow. You reap in Virgo. Gardens of vines and olives. Grapes and olives are pressed in Libra. These are the hidden signs you need to know. You also need to know that Virgo and Libra, remember I was talking about the patterns before that they form? Not only are they talking about the zodiac, but they're also talking about patterns in the zodiac. Libra and Virgo are connecting signs.
Beautiful.
So we interpret our signs to them in different ways so that they could not say, you from others learn this. And so that the truth we clearly explain for those who have knowledge. So I follow what your Lord has revealed to you by suggestion. Here we go. Take in pairs, 8 heads of cattle, 2 from sheep, 2 from goats. Now, Diamond, there's millions of different animals. Why these 3? The cattle are ox, Taurus. The sheep are Aries. Those are connecting signs. The goat is Capricorn, the goat. Otherwise, why these random animals? Why do they always talk about a virgin? Because that's Virgo. Why do they talk about the sheep and sacrificing the goats and the ram? The ram. The Jews are the people of Aries. Why do the Jews blow the ram's horn to the sky during the holidays?
I mean, here it's as simple as thinking this. We've got all these ancient texts. We've got all these books. We're now talking about the Koran. They all keep referring to just a small group of animals, and they're the only animals that are in the zodiac. They don't talk about a deer. They don't talk about a kangaroo. There are hundreds of thousands of animals you could talk about, but they keep talking about the same animals. So we literally have to realize that they're talking about something symbolic. And
absolutely.
I mean,
let me ask you a question. You've seen every manger that you've ever seen from Christmas or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's the baby in the hay with Joseph and Mary. And have you seen the random animals that are there? It's always a goat. It's always a sheep. It's always a cattle. I mean, would you give birth? Like, if you had to give birth, that's one thing, but isn't it a little dangerous? Did anybody ever wonder why these specific animals are always in the manger?
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Anywhere else but there. Hello.
So, and the Libra will be faithful on that day. So Libra literally means Libra too. And those whose cup will be heavy in the delight of paradise dwell. And those whose cup is lightweight, they themselves will doom themselves to destruction because they were lawless in relation to our signs. Well, lawlessness or law is Libra. Libra is Libra, which is the judgment. The cup being heavy or light refers to the sin one has to account for. Our signs refer to the signs of the zodiac. Say all these blessings of a neighbor's life for those who believed in God with all their souls, and only for them on the day of resurrection at the judgment. Thus we explain our signs for those in whom understand lives. The signs are the signs in the sky. They tell you when to plant, when to harvest, when winter's coming. They tell you what season they're in. The resurrection comes December 25th. That's the day the sun is resurrected from the dead. That's why God's only begotten son, the light of the world, that's the sun. He's a solar god, okay, is resurrected from the dead from judgment, which takes place September 21st, which is the fall equinox. That's the day of judgment.
Isn't it 18 degrees there, Micah?
Yeah.
You're outside with the tank top on. Beautiful.
I run warm though, so it's okay.
I run warm.
Before those who consider our signs to be false and glorify over them the gates of heaven will not open, and they will not enter paradise until the camel squeezes through the eye of a needle, so we will reward the wicked. Now, that's a passage in the Bible too.
Yeah.
The camel squeezing through the eye of the needle. It can't do that. In the Bible, it says it is easier for a camel to squeeze through the eye of a needle, to pass through the eye of a needle, I should say, than it is for a man to enter heaven. Well, a camel can't do that. But there's a constellation they knew about then called Camelopardalis, which means camel, and the light from that can pass through a needle. So now we're not just talking about the zodiac, we're talking about the stars and the constellations they knew about the time. You're talking about Ptolemy's 48. Yeah. Because we know there's 88 constellations now, but at the time that all this shit was written, it was 48. And Musa is Moses, by the way, threw down his rod, and in front of everyone he turned into a serpent. He stretched out his hand, and she flashed whiteness before the eyes of all beholding. Then the nobles from the people of Pharaoh said, "This indeed is a skilled sorcerer, and he wants to expel you from your land. What is your advice?" They answered, "Delay him and his brother." And the summoners went through the cities. So Musa is Moses. The serpent is the 13th sign in sidereal astrology, Ophiuchus, okay, which is between Libra and Scorpio. It's known as the serpent bearer. They knew about Ophiuchus at the time, but they didn't practice sidereal astrology. What I'm doing is practicing something called tropical astrology, which is the astrology that they wrote the Bible in. That's how they wrote it. They didn't write it with Ophiuchus, because if you add Ophiuchus to the 13th sign, Scorpio becomes 6 days, Virgo becomes 6 weeks. It throws everything off. You can't make the cross. Okay, Jesus's cross is the cross of the solstices and the equinoxes.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes a perfect cross through the zodiac wheel. It can't do that if you add Ophiuchus. So they knew about it, but they didn't practice with it, as people practice with it today. Now, he is the one who made the sun, life-giving brilliance, established the moon, that light pours in phases, so that you know the number of years. It's the creation of the sun and the moon. He is the one who created the night so that you can rest, and the day to let you see. Indeed, here are the hidden signs for those in whom desire to hear. Same as the Bible. Jesus says, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. They're talking about the signs in heavens. They look around, everything in heaven and on earth, and neither the signs nor those who carry the message can be useful to people who are stubbornly unfaithful. The signs in the sky are not useful for people who do not recognize them. If you do not know this science, you cannot be saved. That's just what it is. Everything keeps you at a lower chakra. To read these books literally keeps you at a lower chakra. And two young men entered the dungeon with him. One of them said, "In a dream I saw that I was squeezing wine from grapes." Another said, "I saw that I was carrying bread on my head." Okay, that's a nice dream to have, talking about wine and bread. The wine is Libra, and the bread comes from Virgo, the lady with the wheat stalk. Those are connecting signs. It's always the wine.
I don't know if you saw, I did a podcast with Jacob Israel. Are you familiar with him?
No, but I'll check it out when I'm done.
Okay, and he's a really spiritual person speaking the word of Christ. He might consider himself a Christian. I'm sure he does, but he's not religious, because what he's doing is exactly what you just said there. He's revealing the lie that the churches are telling you, that you have to worship this false god,
Right.
and that Christ is actually what you and I know is within, and is actually the power for us to reveal the truth. And you're revealing the truth through the astrotheology and the scripture, and that is actually what being reborn as a Christian is, to be able to look up into the heavens, to understand the signs, and to see the true light, which is the sun.
You know what's interesting? You know what the funny thing is?
Son of God.
Look at any picture of Jesus, any image of Jesus that you see on the internet. Just everybody at home, Google him real quick. Okay? You will always see a disc behind his head. And a lot of times it will be yellow. The sun is behind his head. Sometimes it'll have a Knights Templar cross in it. But it's always the sun. There's always a disc behind his head. Why? Because he represents the sun.
Jesus.
And the king said, truly in a dream, I saw 7 well-fed cows, which 7 thin cows eat, and also 7 green ears, and 7 others reaped. So the cows are the female bull, which is Taurus, and the corn is Virgo. Corn is typically harvested in September. Verily, here are the hidden signs for those who seek to recognize the meaning of our signs. I mean, it's like teasing you. You know, it's like teasing people who don't know the 12 signs. He created cattle for you. For you, it contains both warmth and every other benefit from it. You will be flush for food. He created horses for you, mules and donkeys for journeys. And for magnificent ceremonies, he created for you much of that which you hitherto unknown. The cattle is Taurus, the horses are Sagittarius. The donkey is a constellation called the Celis Borealis, which is located in Cancer. Cancer and Sagittarius are opposing signs. He used it to grow cereals, olives, palms, vines, and many other fruits for your food. Indeed, there is a sign here for those who give themselves up to meditation. He subdued you night and day, and the sun and the moon, and by his will he put the star in the service of you. Indeed, there is a sign here for those who have intelligence. Olives and vines are Libra. That's the sign. Then this talks about the sun and the moon, and the star in service is Polaris, the northern star. Okay, why is it the star in service? Because when they used to have boats, ships, I should say, how do you get home? You follow the North Star.
Hello. Now this is funny. Why does the Roman Catholic Church denounce astrology? Hello.
Yeah. So does Islam.
They
Muhammad
lose
does
control
too.
of their parishioners if they understand the message we're saying right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
From palm fruits and vines, you will find good food for yourself and an intoxicating drink. The intoxicating drink is obviously wine. Here, verily, is a sign for those who understand. Here, verily, is a sign for those who understand. The sign is Libra. Okay, from the vines, okay, from the fruits, okay, to the wine, they're talking about Libra. Musa said to his servant, I will not retreat until I reach the place of confluence of the 2 seas. At least I have to go years. When they reached the confluence of 2 seas, they completely forgot about the fish, which directed its way straight into the sea in a wonderful way. This is talking about the confluence of 2 seas, the 2 water signs of Aquarius and Pisces. So he's talking about the border between them. When they got there, they forgot about their fish. So we know they're not talking about Pisces because they said they forgot the fish. It's just a metaphor. But they're talking about Aquarius. This is what I mean. You have to discern between one sign and another.
Let's get to the virgins.
Here we go. Yeah. And now let me read this one and then we'll do that one.
Right.
And now when Yahya was born, Yahya is Jesus, Yeshua. May there be peace to him on the day he was born, on the day he dies, and on the day when he will rise to life again. How can I have a baby, he said, when no man touched me and I was not dissolute? She came to her people carrying the baby son in her arms. They said, Oh, Maryam, you've done an unheard of deed. So Yahya is Yeshua, Jesus. Maryam is his mother. The day he was born is December 25th, when the sun is born again. The day he dies is December 21st, the winter solstice. The day he rises to life again is December 25th. So basically, these are all the books that I've done, or I've already decoded so far. Okay? So we have a lot to still get to. Okay?
Juice.
And basically, this is what my first book in the series looks like. My email is intotherabbitholeseries@gmail.com. Okay, so if you want to get signed copies through me, or you want to hear more of my work, I'll send you more videos, this and that. But let's do the 72 virgins. Ready?
Yeah.
72 virgins. This is a star called 70 Virginis. Okay, that's the 70 virgins. The 71st virgin is Virgo, the virgin. And the 72nd virgin is the virgin you marry on earth. Those are the 72 virgins that they all die for.
And the funny thing is that all of our crops are dying at the same time.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Celestial poetry. And they're killing each other, thinking they're going to go to heaven with an erect penis. That's what they say, a permanently erect penis. That's what all the thinkers say. You're going to go to heaven with an erect penis. Without a body, I don't know how that works, but you're going to go to heaven with an erect penis. You'll have 72 virgins. 72 Virginis borders Virgo. The 71st is Virgo. And the 72nd is the one that you choose to marry on earth.
Yeah,
because she has to be a virgin.
I'm a Virgo, and I'm August 28th. And at the end of the summer, there is a death of plants. It's the harvest time. And there is it's very bizarre. So what is the connection between, because there that must be, it's in that part of the astrological wheel they're talking about in Virgo, isn't it? The virgin death, or
yeah.
How does it relate?
It's the woman sign. It's the only woman sign.
And how does the other stars get involved? Are they just stars of Virgo?
Oh, you're talking about, well, it's called 70 Virginis.
Yeah.
So it's 70 virgins.
70 Virginis, is it in one of the
it borders Virgo.
Astrological signs?
If you're looking at Virgo,
yeah,
you could see 70 Virginis. So they saw it, they named it 70 Virginis.
Yeah.
And then the virgin is another one. And then you marry a wife on earth. She's a virgin, hopefully, in that religion. Those are your 72.
So the whole story it has nothing to do with the actual story anyway. It's just made up.
Correct. As you can see,
crazy.
It's all metaphors.
That's crazy. Dude, it's been awesome. My mind's blown. We always gain more information when we have a conversation. I'm sure the viewers, their minds are blown as well. And for our next task, let's decipher a book do you have any non-religious texts that we could decipher?
I have I'll message you after. Message you after. I have non-biblical. They're all, the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Let's talk about something like the Epic. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Let's do the Epic of Gilgamesh. That's a nice one. That's a nice one of the classics. Let's do one of those.
Sure.
And so your 7th book in the series is in the works. That's at the publisher. Also talking about, and now it's the end of the podcast, the 8th book, the Infinite Book, if you turn it on your side. And it's like Illuminati.
That one, actually, I have a working title for it. I'm going to call it Nail in the Coffin.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, because that's the one that signs all the Hollywood contracts, and you're part of the Illuminati.
Pretty much.
All right. Always a pleasure talking to you, Micah Dank.
Thank you. And everybody at home, please reach out to me on social.
Yeah, tell them that email, because I have your private email, but you said it's into the rabbit hole.
Into the rabbit hole series @gmail.com. Twitter, Real Mr. Dank. Instagram and Facebook, Micah Dank. Reach out to me or friend me. I'll send you some of my videos. I also sign books. I sell book series.
Yeah, I've got all his signed books. And if you can't find him, just hit us up at OppenheimerRanch@gmail. We'll give you all the links. Mike, it's always a pleasure. Hope you get some good rest tonight. Put some clothes on. It's 18 degrees in New York, and you got 2 feet of snow, yo. Final words.
It's been great. It's always fun to do that book because people don't really see it coming.
Yeah, man, that was like a smack in the face. If you don't see the symbology, I don't know where you're at. We love you. Be safe. And that's boom.
Thank you.
Boom.